All right, y'all. First and foremost, give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and his son. The Hamashiach, who some call Yahweh Shai, Yeshua, Yehoshua, Yashayah, Yahusha. We mostly know as Jesus Christ. Just wanted to review a video and just show y'all how, we just overlook information. And there's some things I put out there on Facebook, brothers like, well, where the holes at? Where the problems at with some of the doctrine? And we're finna see one here, and y'all not gonna like it. You ain't gonna want to dig into it, but I'm gonna show you where to go. I'm gonna make it plain. It's gonna be right in your face, but and then it's I like what Sons of Thunder have been saying. It's like it's consequent. Yep, it is. And you just got to deal with it. And the longer you try to push back these consequences, the more this stuff is going to build up, and the consequences are going to be greater and greater. The longer you wait to deal with these matters, the consequences of what you're going to have to finally bring out is going to be greater. You can keep running from it.
On today's episode of the Synagogue of Satan.
We'll talk today about one of the most famous of the medieval explorers. And in fact, I didn't try it, but if you Googled famous Jewish explorer, you would probably get Benjamin of Tudela. He published a really fascinating itinerary of his travels in the 12th century, and he described his journey from about the year 1159 to around the year 1173. This is a century before Marco Polo, and it was an incredibly popular book. It was translated into many European languages because there were not that many people who were traveling such distances and bringing back that information.
Shall we Google or explore this famous medieval explorer and scholar, Benjamin of Tudela? These are the various photos I see online. I mean, you can look it up yourself. This is the supposed Benjamin of Tudela. So it looks like this is a more consistent photo up there. So anyways, as you can see, he is of Caucasian descent. Behind me is a book called The Rise of Christendom. Let's see what else Benjamin of Tudela explored and discovered. For context sake, this book was written in 1890. Let's go in the book. Let's read the highlighted area on this page. There is the curious notice of R. Benjamin of Tudela, which describes rabbins as forming part of the suite of the Pope, the head of the
describes rabbis as forming part of the suite of the Pope. And what does that mean? That language is a little tricky. Forming part of the suite. What is the suite? Hold on. A phrase forming part of the suite indicates that an item is one component of a larger, a unified set of collection. The exact meaning of the term suite depends heavily on the context in which it is used. But let's just give it to him. This is saying, what does he want to say? I guess he wanted to say that describes rabbis as forming part of the suite of the Pope, the head of the Edomites. So I guess he's saying the Pope is the head of the Edomites.
Edomites. Let's get
Let
some
me
more.
Let me go back. Let him finish it.
The head of the Edomites, Tudela, which describes rabbins as forming part of the suite of the Pope, the head of the Edomites.
And rabbins are rabbis.
Let's get some more.
Let's get some more. Now, before we get some more, because I stopped it here, we can see a little more, but I want to say he placed himself here on purpose, but I gotta give him mercy. I gotta give him grace. But I ain't like him placing himself here. But give him grace that all he's trying to read is what he highlighted in blue. But he's gonna read what he highlighted in blue. But look what's right under there. It is well known that medieval rabbis, take delight in employing a great number of synonyms drawn from biblical chronicles and genealogies. Okay, so he's going to read now. The medieval chroniclers say expressly that Edom means Rome. And it's right up under there, it's telling you that it's well known that the medieval rabbis take delight in employing a great number of synonyms drawn from the biblical chronicles and genealogies. Basically an allegory. They're using it, Esau as Rome, as an allegory. It's literally saying it the next sentence that he's highlighted, yet he did not highlight that part. Just as the Arabians with Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon is a symbolic expression for, I don't know, because his head, he put his head in the way to the Shemites. In the same way that they're using, the Arabians is using Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon is symbolic to express for blah, 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 blah to the Semites. He even covered it up. They're giving all the different examples of allegories that are used and how they're not literally saying these folks are Edomites. Let's let it play.
Now the medieval chronicles say expressly that Edom means the Roman Empire or the European powers. These are scholars.
These are scholars. But you gotta read, brother. Man. And that's the same thing happened with them with Babylon and Timbuktu. This is IUIC, brother. When they invited him up there, they didn't know how much he deferred from their doctrine. You weren't saying they just went to West Africa. He said they went to North Africa first. And that kind of throws the doctrine off.
Now, this is the same page. We're just jumping down to the highlighted area. One of the earliest is Benjamin of Tudela, circuit 1160, who calls Rome the Edomite capital and the Pope the head of the Edomitish religion. So,
and so that's why they use him in the footnotes. And that's why they wanted to even give you information on Tudela, but they've been calling Esau Rome. He said 1160. They've been calling Esau Rome. And Christians also have been calling Jews Esau from the 2nd century.
Benjamin of Tudela did some digging and he found out that Esau or Rome is Edom. Genesis 36 verse 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Jumping down to verse 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. This is your friendly neighborhood white man.
And this is your friendly neighborhood white man. My goodness. Now, let's do this. Let's do this, y'all. I'm gonna show y'all something. I'm gonna show you something here. Display capture. Transition in. Okay. All right. Did rabbis allegorize Esau as Romans? Yes. Beginning in 2nd century CE, rabbis commonly allegorize Esau and his descendants, the Edomites, as Roman Empire. You're reading Midrash. You're reading rabbinic commentary. That's how they speak. You're gleaning from their language. And like so said, it's well known. It's well expressed. Everybody knows that they use Esau as a synonym for Rome. This identification became fundamental. 1 + 1 is 2. Aspect of rabbinic interpretation and is basic to traditional Jewish understanding of many biblical texts. The association, reasons for the allegory. The association developed over time for several reasons. Historical conflict. Historical Edomites were enemies of ancient Israel historically. When the Roman Empire became dominant, oppressive power over Judah, destroyed the Second Temple CE, 70 CE, and crushed the Bar Kokhba rebellion, it was natural for the rabbis to redirect the existing biblical prophecies and narratives about Edom against Rome. King Herod's Idumean ancestry. King Herod the Great, an Idumean Edomite descendant who ruled Judea as a Roman proxy, was deeply detested by the rabbis. This connection made it natural to link Roman rulers from the people of Edom, and by extension, Romans in general. Typologically, sibling rivalry, the biblical story of Jacob and Esau, twin brothers in conflict, provided a powerful framework for understanding the complex us-them reality of Jewish people's relationship with Rome. In this allegory, Jacob represented Israel, Esau represented Rome. Response to Christian claims: as Rome Christianized in the 4th century CE, Esau became a cipher for Christianity as well. This allowed the rabbis to counter Christian interpretations, which often claimed Jacob's legacy for the church, and decried the Jews as Esau, by framing Christianity as a sibling entity with whom Judaism had an unavoidable, though often traumatic, relationship. Genealogical links. Some rabbinic traditions preserve specific, albeit legendary, genealogical links, such as the belief that the great kingdom of Rome was built by Sepho, a grandson of Esau. In rabbinic literature, Esau, Edom, Rome was often depicted as a violent, sword-wielding, and rebellious figure, serving as a counter model to the ideal rabbinic Jew. However, some interpretations also suggested the possibility of future reconciliation, referencing the biblical story where Jacob and Esau eventually meet and part in peace. This is my YouTube channel. If you type in Esau, okay, you'll see this particular video here. It's only 8 minutes, y'all. It's only 8 minutes. Who is Esau? Or look into brief. You see, I got a Bible's name book. It's going to tell you that this was an allegory from rabbis. I got Abba Bivens' book. We went through there and I showed you where he believed white people came from. He didn't believe Esau was Edom. But this is later came, and I want to say it came out of that book heavily, because I seen something else when I was watching that video. It talked about the cake half turned, and I know that verse we misinterpreted in Hosea to try to talk about the color of skin. And you from the cake half turned. See, they mixed. You don't turn the cake, it burns. They ain't talking about no skin color, but we used to use that verse. But I seen that in that. You go back and watch that video and just read the pages that he was on there. I seen that phrase in there, and I'm like, man, that's probably where they got that from. And I hate to look in that book, because I do have that book, and you know, Joker's already be hating at me bringing and stuff out. But boy. But I'm gonna have to look in there. Anyway, Y'all can check out that video there. And I got the Jewish Concise Encyclopedia. It also tells you in there that they allegorized it. It's well-known knowledge among them. We're the only people just taking that phrase literal and saying, man, you know Esau, yeah. And it's okay to say it if you're allegorizing it. If it's allegory, but to say it in a literal sense, you did wrong. Anyway, pray this thing was edifying. Y'all be blessed. Shalom.